Hello and welcome to another Maths Cure video. In this video we're going to go through questions 6 to 10 in this foundation exam that I previously started. Okay, so let's get started. So questions 6 to 10. Right, question 6. Here is a number machine. It says input is time, so you have the input and then you have to times it by 4, and you have to take away 8 and you get your output. So let's just underline what the steps, okay? So work out the output when the input is 18. So all we need to do for this question, 18 as the input, multiply it by 4, okay? And then take away by 8. And that will give us our output. And the output here is simply 64. Okay, and that is the answer. If you want to put it on that line. Okay, work out the input, okay? This is very important, not the output, the input when the output is 20. So we've actually got 20 this time, and we're going backwards, okay? So that basically just means we have to do the reverse. So instead of doing 20 minus 8, we have to do 20 plus 8, which will give us 28. And then instead of doing times 4, we have to do divided by 4. And what will that give us? That will give us an input of 7, and that is the answer. Okay, and that is the end of that question. That part. Now on to part C. Here is a different number machine. Input is what you have. You times it by 5, you plus x, and then you get your output. It says work for this number machine. When the input is 8, the output is 50. So we can just write this in. We've got an input of 8. We've got an output of 50. Work out the value of x. Okay, so we need to write an equation out here. We've got 8 times 5. So I'm just going to do in brackets here so we don't get confused with the x. Okay, plus x is equal to 50. Right, that is the first step. Okay, so our next step is to simplify where we can. So 8 times 5. So we use our times tables. We've got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Okay, and then we've got plus x equal to 50. And now to solve this equation, we need to get x by itself. So how do we remove plus 40 from the left-hand side and move it to the right-hand side? What we need to do is take away 40 from both sides. We're going to have 50 take away 40. That'll give us x equals 10. And that is the final answer. X equals 10. It'd be a good idea here now to try this with a different number and see if it works. So you could, for example, use 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Plus 10 is 20. Output is 20. Okay. Then you actually wait, that wouldn't really work. Never mind, forget that. What you could do now is just put this 10 in here, make sure it works by saying 8 times 5, okay, we know that's 40, plus 10 is 50. Yeah, that's right. Ignore what I just said a minute ago. Okay, let's go on to question 7. Here is a list of all the nut trees Katerina counted one day. Complete the frequency table for Katerina's list. Okay, so what we need to do now is make a tally for each. So cashew, we've got 1 there. Okay, so 1 on the first, 2 on the first row, none on the second row, none on the third row, 1 on the fourth row, then the final one on the 5th row. Okay, so the frequency is 4. The tally, you have to write the tally like that. Walnut. Okay, so how many walnuts are there? 1 on the first row, 3 on the second row, none on the third row, 2 on the next row, and then 1 last final one. Okay, that'll give us 7. Okay, next one, almond. There's 1 on the first row, 0 on the second row, 3 on the third row. Okay, and then there's 1 more on the next row, so that's 5. Okay, and then we've got pistachio. So we've got 1 here, and then another one there, and then another one on the 4th row, and then 1 more, so that's 4. Okay, so let's just add up how many we've got on all. We've got 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 5 is 13, plus 7 is 20. And if you look here, this is 5 by 4, which is 20, so we know we've done it right. Okay, so we now need to move on to the bar chart that we're going to have to make. Draw a bar chart for the information in your table. Okay, so what we need to do here is label the axes first step. So what I'm going to do is on this side, I'm going to put frequency, okay? Frequency, and then on the bottom, it's going to be the type of tree. Okay, and there are 4 different trees we have to do. Okay, and then we are going to label this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that is the highest. So I'm just going to label that there. 7, and then I'll just put 1 there, just so you know it goes up by 1 every time. Okay, so then we've got a first tree. So the first tree will do, what is the first one? You can do cashew. So I'm just going to put a C, okay? And what is the frequency? The frequency is 4. So what we're going to do, so let's just draw a little line here to split it up from the others. So we're going to go in the middle on this side, go up 4, come back down 4. Okay, now we'll do the rest of them, and that will hopefully not be too hard. So we've got walnut next, which is 7. Okay, and you will want to use a ruler if you did this by yourself in an actual exam, so the lines look nice and neat. Okay, and they give you an extra square here, and that's just to put you off. You don't need to use that at all, just forget about that. Next we've got almond and pistachio, and that's 5 and 4. So almond, pistachio, 5 and 4. Okay, and that's a 3-mark question. It's definitely worth doing if you know what to do. That's everything there. Okay, sorry about the bad lines. Okay, so let's continue. Question 8. Simplify. Y times y times y. So I've done this in a previous video. So y times y times y, that is just equal to y cubed. Okay, so if you multiply a letter by itself, so just think of all of these as y to the power of 1. Okay, and when you multiply a power by a power, you just plus them together. So that will give you 3, which is quite simple. Next one, simplify 3c plus 2d. So all you need to do is split this up into 2 separate questions pretty much. We've got 3 times 2. Okay, and we'll just put that in a bracket. And then we've got that times c times d, which you can literally just write as cd, like that. And then what we can do is write that out fully as 6 cd. And that is our answer. So you just need to combine the numbers and then just combine the letters because they're different. If it was 3c times 2c, you'd get 6c squared. Because like I said, these are both c to the power 1, d to the power 1. Okay, simplify 2k plus 4k plus 3k, minus 4k plus 3k. So because they've all got the same letter on them, you can just combine them like normal numbers. So it's basically just going to be 2 minus 4 will give us negative 2, plus 3 just gives us 1k. Okay, which we can just write as k. That is the answer to that question, k. Right, now that, let's go on to question 9. Okay, the table shows the temperatures at midnight and at midday of 5 ski resorts. Okay, which ski resort has the lowest temperature at midnight? So this is midnight here, this whole row. Which one has the lowest temperature? Well, these are negative numbers, so the highest number will be the lowest. So it is Alto Campo. Okay, so we'll just write that in. Actually, Alto, I'm just going to put AC, okay? AC. Work out the increase in temperature from midnight to midday for Chamonix. So we've got this one here, the top one, the temperature increase. So we're going from -5 to 3. How much increase is that? So if you think about it on a number line, so we've got 0 here. I'm going to make a little number line to help you with this. Okay, and I've got 0, 1, 2, 3. We've got -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, so we've got -5 here and 3 here. So how far do we have to go to get up to 3? So we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so it's an increase of 8. So that's just helping you visualize what you actually have to do. Okay, so the increase is 8. Some people might get tricked and just think it's 2 going from -5 to 3, but you have to think about a number line here, how far you have to go. So let's go on to the next question. Jan knows that the temperature falls 1 degree Celsius for every 300 meters increase in height above A0. What was the temperature at midnight at a height 1,800 meters above A0? So at midnight, the temperature was -7 degrees Celsius at A0. Okay, so that was A0. So how many degrees Celsius will it be higher if it's 1,800? So what we have to do is 1,800 divided by 300, okay? So if you think about that, 1,800, so that's basically, you can just think of that as 18 divided by 3, which will give you 6. Okay, and then, so that is 6 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be 6 degrees Celsius lower. So what we need to do is -7 minus 6, which gives you -13 degrees Celsius. I hope that made sense. Okay. So now we're on to the final question. There are 20 counters in a bag X. Okay. 7 of the counters are green, 10 of the counters are red, the rest of the counters are blue, and because there's 20, we can work out that 3 are blue. Write down the probability that a counter is red. So that's simply just going to be 10 over 20. Okay, the probability of you taking out a red one is 10 out of 20. You could write that as 1/2, but it's better just to leave it in normal, the form it's in, don't simplify. And yeah, that's it for that part. Work out the probability that it counts as blue. Okay, that's simply just 3 over 20. And they would have expected you to have some working down here of 20 minus 17 for the other two to work out how many are blue. Okay, but we did that at the start because it's simple. Okay, Ruth puts the counters back into bag X. So she took one out, she's put the counter back in. Bag Y only contains green counters, red counters, and blue. In bag Y, there are 2 more green counters than in bag X. There's 1 more red counter and 2 more blue counters than in bag X. Okay, so Adam takes at random a counter from bag Y. Ruth takes a random counter from bag X. Who has greater probability of taking a green counter, Adam or Ruth? Okay, so I'm just going to put A here, Adam. Which one's he taking it out? Well, he's taking it out of bag Y. How many counters are in bag Y? Well, first of all, let's do Ruth, because she's taking out the one we already know. So there are 20 in this bag, and she is taking how many greens are there? There's 7 out of 20. Okay. So now we have to work out the probability for Adam and see which one is more. So Adam, how many counters are there overall? Well, if we look at this, there's 2 more, 1 more, 2 more. So it's actually 5 more overall. So the total is 25. And the total of green is 9. Okay. As you can see, 7 plus 2 here. So what you need to do now is write these as a decimal to compare them. You could, if you really wanted, write them with common denominators as bigger fractions, but it's simpler just to put them in your calculator and write them as a decimal. And if you do that, you'll get 0.36 for Adam and 0.35 for Ruth. And so you can clearly see Adam has a greater probability, even if it's very little, of choosing a green than Ruth. And that, I believe, is the end of question 10. Thanks for watching this video. Hope it was useful. Please give a comment if there was anything you need help with in the video. Thanks and goodbye.